Greetings from the UFO conference in Prague, and you may recognize this face. It's again Francisco Corrêa after 1 year. So we caught up because Francisco is very dear friend of this conference, and we are really honored to have him. So it's really wonderful to have you here, Francisco.
Thank you.
And I already, in the last video, I told the people about your projects, about the Project Titan, about the ICER, and that you're a very busy man in the field of exopolitics. And so I'm wondering what has happened since we didn't meet. Have you got any updates on anything or something fun that happened?
Well, since we, first of all, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the invitation to be here talking to you. And it's my third time in Prague, and it's always amazing. Suene knows how to pick people to be part of the team. And so I can only, it's a privilege and an honor to be here and to be sharing and learning as well. So since we last spoke, what happened? We had the hearing, not hearing, but there was a session at the European Parliament with my friend and colleague Francisco Mourão, a deputy of the European Parliament, former deputy of the European Parliament, that allowed for or promoted a session to discuss the possibility of creating legislation inside the European Union to allow reports to be made and to be processed and systematized, reports from commercial pilots, of course. And since then, well, we have had elections in San Marino. We were expecting some feedback regarding Project Titan. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we have not heard anything. Again, the new government took over power in July, I guess, and so I believe that in terms of priority management, Project Titan is not exactly something that they wanted to give. We hope that next September 2025 we will have enough support to present again the project. And what else? We had the hearings in the States. We will have another hearing at the Senate in, I believe, 13th of this December.
Well, yeah, sometime in December, I guess.
Of course, we are indeed anxious to understand what will be the openness of the new administration in the U.S. to this subject. We know, we have seen that Marco Rubio, John Ratcliffe, others, Congressman Luna and Mace have been, and even Congressman Burchett, all have had a good impact in terms of transparency and leading the way in terms of eventually creating legislation that allow for more transparency and also protection for the witnesses. Mm-hmm. And so the future now is, although for some people in terms of political views maybe some way frightening, we are more or less positive that we may have good news in the future during 2025 in regards to transparency. US is leading the way. Let's see if we can also make Europe also do something. In ICER we have Chris Gaffney, deputy from Ireland, who has petitioned the European Parliament for 21 times for getting access to documents through the Freedom of Information Act in Europe, and he has had a few of them. He also have had some replies like non-answers, right?
Yeah.
It's not a yes, it's not a no, but
I get it.
so we'll see. We will not. How can I say? We will not give up. We will always try to be positive and understand that something will come out. In ICER, we are also creating. We were already creating, and we are finalizing awareness programs for the general public in terms of preparing for contact.
For general public of Portugal or
No,
worldwide?
worldwide.
Yeah.
These are will be in the beginning in English. We will ideally will have in every language of every country just is represented in ICER. So in Czech there will also be a version in Czech probably. We will try to do it, of course. Karel will have to work on it, and we have several members who have had contact and have had written inclusive books about their experiences. So they will be featured in those courses. So yeah, we are very positive for the future.
Yeah, and I was wondering because I felt since quite a few months. I mean, now the political heat began with the UFO hearing, new Trump administration. But before that, I was more expecting to see disclosure from the academic places, that we have. But it seems right now, only like professors are able to do this, like Diana Pasulka, who is professor for religion, and so on.
Yes, Diana Pasulka is not talking officially about UFOs.
Yeah.
She's a professor of religious studies, so she is trying to interpret how in the past certain events, certain apparitions, for instance, and certain visualizations could be another view, could have a UFO interpretation nowadays. So in that sense, it's interesting. But we do have in Europe, besides our university, Fernando Pessoa in Porto, which is a transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary approach to the UFO phenomena through consciousness. But you have the University of Würzburg in Germany. Professor Hakam Kayal has a project in terms of developing systems of detection, instruments for detection of UAPs. So inside the Würzburg University, there has now a department to study UFOs, UAPs, and develop instrumentation for detection. Okay. They already had two conferences, mainly for academics. They were quite interesting. You also have the Institute for the Nordic Institute for Sciences and Technology with Professor Beatriz Villarroel, who also has a project to study UFOs, UAPs.
She has the project about the missing stars,
yes, and also detection and also crash retrievals. She also leads a program outside of university, which is European Crash Retrieval Program. And we also, for instance, the Society for UAP Studies from Professor Michael Sifone from the University of New York also has been, and I've talked about that last year, the Limina Symposium, which gathers several academic scholars from different universities across the globe to discuss UAPs. Okay, it's through a philosophical approach in terms of how can we develop and systematize a program of study of UFOs. So yes, there has been, because of this waving of stigma, there has been a growing interest from the academic world to study UFOs.
But I still feel that only like the professors, I feel like they have the, they can do it because they have no one above them. So they are not afraid of the stigma. I feel that there's a bit still of that, no?
There's still stigma.
Yeah.
Of course, they're still afraid of not losing their jobs, but losing their respect or credentials, etc. Yes, that still is in many places, but even the University of Sorbonne in Paris, right, had a conference about UFOs last year. So yes, the things are starting to open gradually. It cannot be from one day or from the night to the day, right? It has to be gradually. We will get there.
Yeah. So my feeling right now is that in Europe, the only way forward is kind of more the academic way, because Europe. What do you think?
Well, the academic world is where society gets verifiable information, credible information. They always invite some professor to go on TV and to talk about some subject and give their opinion, etc. And it's through the academia that we also produce research to validate certain points of view. Right? And so in that sense, of course, the academia has an important role. Not the only, but there has also civilian research, civilian movement in terms of outreach to to the main society. Right? We have, how can I say? The research from UAPs essentially started by civilians, right? From militaries, of course, but the conferences are mainly dominated by civilian researchers.
Yeah, individuals.
So they play an important role, of course. And so you can be suspicious of the role of the academia that wants maybe to grab it just for their own, and the academia could be seen as the ruler, right, for the correct information. But we cannot put aside the great work that has been done by individuals, by civilian researchers that have had the motivation, the motivation the drive to petition governments for documents, to contact the military, to be a driving force also for disclosure. So civilians do indeed have a major important role that can be then validated if the rest of society needs by the academics.
Yeah, okay. So, and maybe the last question, whether we see it from the political view that maybe in USA there will be more and more hearings and more and more disclosures, or more and more scientific evidence, when do you feel that the idea that maybe some non-human intelligence is among us or is watching us will come to the public? I was talking, for instance, with Renate Fosdal from UFO Norway, and she told me maybe 6-7 years, but it is moving.
We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
It's hard to say, right?
It's very hard to say. We really don't know. We really don't know. Things evolve in a certain way, then we raise too much expectations and things that don't happen. We really don't know. Yeah. The dynamics in politics, it depends on the geopolitical situations, the wars, etc. So priority management as well. So yeah, we need to be patient and hopeful that things will get moving faster. But we also need to be realistic that things may last. So we don't know. We really don't know.
So, and lastly, what are you hopeful about the future in terms of the UFO, or what are you excited about now?
No, I am excited by the fact that more academics are coming forward. More academics are showing interests to the subject. The society is becoming more open to discuss it, and hopefully more mainstream media will pay more attention as well. Again, if we drive the interest of the academics and the governments, the mainstream media will come.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you for giving me the time.
And I hope to meet you again sometime.
Hopefully.
And let's see where the future goes. It seems this topic is more and more exciting.
Indeed, it always have been, and it always will be fascinating.
Okay, so thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
And also you. Goodbye.